Hi there, welcome back to JD Answers. I have another Hardwire kit installation. And what I'm excited about is that this kit comes with pretty much everything you need to install a Hardwire kit. It even has the circuit tester on there. I'm going to show you step by step on how to install this Hardwire kit into your vehicle. It gives you two modes and how to install this. Mode A, this is when you want your dash cam or whatever you powered to be on only when you turn on the vehicle and turn off the vehicle. Mode B is a 24-hour surveillance, which in other words, you're using parking mode. Everything you need to know will be on this video. I'm even going to show you how to route the wires from your fuse box all the way back to your dash cam. And stay tuned to the end where I'll show you the unboxing. All right, so now we need to know where the fuse box, and most of the time it's on the driver's side and the left side of the dashboard, which is right here, or sometimes it's on this side, right here. But for this vehicle is a standard vehicle, so it's right there. So let's get into the fuse box. And when you get into there, behind it is going to be the diagram that you need. And there you go, you can see the fuses all right there. And those are what we need to do. So the first thing we need to do is get one out so we can see exactly what kind of fuse it is. So I got a pair of needle nose, and I'm just going to pull any one out. Just going to take one out. So this one is a micro fuse. Yours might be different. It doesn't matter. All you got to do is match them up with the fuse tab. So let's go ahead and do that next. All right, so this is the fuse I have, and these are the fuse taps that we're going to use. This is going to be the one we're going to install into the vehicle, and you can see how it's exactly the same there. All right, so now we got to do is figure out which fuses can we use, and we need to go to our diagram. All right, here's our diagram. So let me take a look at which ones we could use and not use. If possible, you want to go with anything with a 10 amp or less. You can go higher, but recommended is stay at least 10. And you don't want to go anything where it's to start the vehicle or any airbags. But again, it's your vehicle. You could use whatever you like. All right, I got a 10 amp audio mirror. So this one looks like when the car turns off, this will turn off, and that's what I like. I have a 15 amp of heated seats, but I need something that stays on all the time. So I might have to go with a constant fuse of a 10 amp stop lamp. So these are pretty much your lights. At the same time, if you have any empty spaces, you could test those to see if they still have power going to it. So let's go ahead and test our fuses and see which ones we could use. So I'm going to go ahead and get the circuit tester. What I got to do next is ground the circuit tester, this is the grounding part. And this is the probe that we're going to use to test each of the fuses. All right, I got this metal plate that I used. Usually what you want is the bolt that holds down the fuse box, or any bolts in here that is not connected to anything painted metal or metal that's painted. And I'm probably going to use that to ground the fuse kit. So what you want to do is make sure this connection is secure all the way in for this probe. And then what we're going to do is we're going to test one side of the fuse. All right, the vehicle is off, and that's what we want, because we want to look for a fuse that is always on, no matter if the car is off or on. This is called a constant fuse. Now, when the car turns off and the power turns off to the fuse, then that is a switch fuse, and we're going to need one of each. So let me show what I'm talking about. So you get your probe, and what you do is you put it on one side of the fuse. There's two terminals, and here you can see where I'm on one, but no light is on. That's because it's no power is going through. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to test them till I find one that turns on. Now remember, I'm only testing one side. There you go, we got one on. Another one. All right, we got another one.
And it looks like the top left are your constant fuses, all right here.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and turn on the car. Now all the fuses should turn on, but we're not looking for the ones that turned on. All right, so I'm going to go to the bottom and just start testing them. And you can see how it brightens up. That means it's on. All right, so rather than going through all of them like we just did, I'm going to go ahead and test the one that I think we can use. And the one I think we could use is a 10 amp audio mirror. So let me test that one. It's a 10 amp. When we started, I took out a fuse to see which is the one we need, which is this one right here. But let me go ahead and put it back on. All right, now it makes sense now when we look at the diagram, which is the one we need to test. And the one we need to test is this 10 amp. So right now the car is on and it works. So this is going to be our switch circuit. But let's make sure, let's turn off the car. All right, let's go back with our circuit tester. And you see how it does not turn on? So this is our switch circuit. This is the one that we could use. Now you notice again how we have spares right here. So I could test those to see if they work. So let me go ahead and do that. And the way you do it is just pretty much test one side of the terminal. So I'm going to go test the bottom and nothing. So I'm going to do is test the top part and nothing. I'm going to go to the next one, nothing, and to the top. So basically these are not a constant circuit to try to see if they work, because none of them work. Now I'm going to turn the car on and see if that works. All right, now the car is on. We can use a spares because they're not a constant fuse, but we could test them to see if there is switch fuse, which means are they on now since the car is on. So I'm going to test this one right here and go to the bottom. And then to the top, you can see the light turn on. So this one is a switch fuse. I'm going to go to the bottom and that one's on. You see how the bottom's on? But we go to the top, nothing is on. The bottom is on this one, there's nothing here. And for this one, it's the top. Now you have to pay attention to this because the tap fuse goes on a certain way, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Let's test more of these. That one probably doesn't have anything. I really can't see in there. All right, I'm gonna test this one. And nothing, there's nothing going to this one. So the only ones we could use is, which is this one right here, or this one. All right, so we could use these as a switch circuit. Okay, so now that we know which one we could use, what I'm gonna do now is show you what is the correct way. Now you notice how one side had the power of the fuse, and then went to the other fuse, it was a different side that had the power going to. This is important. So when you install your fuse tap, this side of the fuse, this side right here, needs to be connected to the side that has the power going to it. So the power is going to go to this side. On this one right here, on the bottom is the power. So that means that this needs to be connected like this. Now, since it's a spare, I don't need to have another fuse inserted because it's not powering on anything. So all I need is this 5 amp fuse. So now let's get the other one ready. Let's get the constant circuit ready. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out the 10 amp fuse. What I realized here is that this 20 amp is a spare fuse. So we could use this one as our constant circuit. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this one off because really this one here that I wanted to use is too close to this electrical part. So the fuse tap's not going to fit in there correctly. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this fuse out. Now what I'm going to do is test which side has power going to it. The bottom has power, and of course the top doesn't. So what does that mean? Is that it needs to be connected this way. That way it's going to this port, and it has to be connected like this. And since this one is a spare, we don't have to add another fuse to it. All we got to do is keep this 5 amp. All right, so now that we know which direction it goes into, let's go ahead and hook up our hardwire kit to these fuse taps. One of the things you want to make sure is before you install your hardwire kit is make sure the hardwire kit is routed inside the fuse box to come out underneath the panel. When you're ready to route the wires, they're going to be inside the dashboard. So make sure you do that. So at this point, what you want to do is grab your wires and pull everything down. All right, we're ready to install the fuse tap, which is this side, to a hardwire kit. All you got to do is get your hardwire kit point and then the fuse tap, and you're simply just going to push them together. There you go, and it creates a seal, and all you got to do is move that protective covering over it. And that's it. Now let's do the other side here, this one. Same thing. Connect it together. There you go. Move that protective covering over. There you go. It's ready to install now. Just in case you didn't have a spare and you took out the fuse that came with the fuse box that was in there, this one here, you would add it to the open slot. This fuse, this hardwire kit already came with the fuse already for the hardwire kit. Now this one is for the hardwire kit, which gives power to the dash cam or whatever you're going to use it for. This is for the items that's for the vehicle itself. That one goes on this side. For mode 8, both of the fuse taps are going to be installed to a switch fuse. So the ACC wire and the BAT wire are both going to be on there, because on this mode, when you turn the car on, the power will only be available for the fuse taps when the car is on, and when the car is off, it turns off the fuse. So we pretty much gone through the fuses, and I already know which one I'm going to use. I'm going to use this spare here, and then I'm also going to use the 15 amp fuse. So I'm going to go ahead and take out the fuse, and that way we could determine which side has the power coming into the fuse. So I'm going to get the circuit tester. I'm going to test the bottom and the top, and there's nothing coming on. And the car is off on this one. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on the car, and then we could get our circuit tester and check it again. So I'm going to check the bottom, and you can see the light turn on. So this is where the power is coming into. It's coming into the bottom of the terminal. So now we know which way it needs to go. And since the power needs to come to the bottom of the fuse tap, we're going to install it exactly the way it is, with the wire facing up. Now, since I took out that 15 amp fuse, I'm going to put it in the empty slot, just like this. And whatever fuse you took off, you just put it right on there and just install it in the correct motor. All right, so let me go ahead and install it. Sometimes I have a hard time putting it into the fuse socket, so what I do is I grab my needle nose and I attach the fuse tap to it, and that way I could guide it in there and it'll go in, and then all I got to do is with my fingers just push it in, and you can see how it's inserted right there. I'm ready to install the other fuse tap, and I got it on my needle nose again, and that way it's going to help me guide it into the slot, because sometimes my hand is too thick for the fuse box itself. So once I get it guided in, I get my fingertips and I just push it in to install it. And both of these are installed on a switch fuse. So the ACC wire and the BAT wire are both installed on there. All right, there you go. They're both installed. Now this is for mode A. Since the power is on top, we're going to go down. The wire is going to be facing down. So let me go ahead and do that first here. All right, so that one is in. Remember, the power is on the top, and from the wire, the outside terminal is the one that needs to be in the power, and it's going that way. Now for the constant circuit, which let me turn the vehicle off.
Let's make sure the power again. The power is going to the bottom.
And the constant is the yellow wire. All right, since the power is on the bottom, that means this part needs to go to the bottom, and the wire is going to be facing up, which is good, because if it was facing down, then it'll be in the way of this one. So this one's going to work out perfectly. So let me install this one. All right, there you go. So for the switch circuit, when the car turns off, the power turns off to this fuse, the wire is going down because the power was on the bottom. For the constant circuit, which is the one on top, the wire is going up because the power was on the bottom. So this one worked out perfectly. So all I got to do next is to connect the ground. I'm going to use that bolt right here since I have this already attached to it. So that we know that's a ground. So I'm going to take this off. All right, so let me go ahead and just loosen this one only. All right, it's loosened. All right, so let me go ahead and put that in there underneath that screw or bolt. All right, it's in now. All we gotta do now is route the wires to the dash cam, but before we do that, let's go ahead and test this. All right, I got the car off. I'm gonna connect the power cable, and this is a Type-C, and you notice this is a 90-degree cable. And the good thing about this Hardwire kit is also a 90-degree cable. So I'm gonna go ahead and install that in there. Let me get the right cable in there first. Let's see. Here we go. It's in there.
Start recording.
There you go. You heard it on. That means it's on. So let's go ahead and turn on the vehicle.
Start recording.
And there you go. Now it's switched to the ACC fuse. When the car turns on, excuse the noise on my car. So we know now both wires are connected. So all we got to do now is route the wires back to the dash cam.
So at this point, what you want to do is grab your wires and pull everything down. All right, now that we got the wires behind here, we're going to close this kick plate, and this carpet is where we could put all the slack in there. So we're going to put it right here behind this carpet. Now you can just push it in here. That's fine. It's your preference, whatever you want to do. But I like just to keep it behind things where I don't have to see it anymore.
So what we're going to do is we're just going to go straight up with the wires. Let me turn off the vehicle. All right, so I got the wires here, and this is the rear cable. This goes to the rear camera. I'm going to pull this wire management control here down, and I'm going to fix that wire, and I'm going to get this wire next, and I'm going to push it underneath the headliner. And I'll show you how that looks. All right, between the headliner and the window, there's an 1/8 of an inch to a 1/4 of an inch space there. And all you got to do is simply with one hand, just push the wire in. With the other hand, you're holding the wire, that way it doesn't come out, or hold it while you guide you in. And that's all you do. And you can pretty much see the wire here. It's in there. You can't really see the wire at all because it's tucked inside. But that's all you got to do. Just tuck the wires with your hand. All right, from this point, what you want to do is pull out your weather strip if you want to do that. If not, you could just simply tuck it in here because we're going down. To me, I like to take the weather strip down. I'm going to pull it all the way down to the kick plate, which you'll see that in just a minute when we get there. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pinch it in on this side, and then with my fingers, I'm just going to simply tuck it in. All the way in. I'm going to push it more back to the corner, and I can simply pull this out. Actually, this wire is a little bent, so let me go ahead and fix that wire there. There you go. I could push that more to the end. And now I could go ahead and pinch this inside. Now, if you could take your A-pillar off,
That's pretty much the fastest way you could do it is there. I don't have to do that with this one. I'd rather just push it in there. Now with the Hardwire kit, it gave us a little packet and we have this tool, this blue tool, and that's what I'm going to use to help me push the wire in there. All right, let me show how that looks with this tool. You're simply just pushing the wire in, and that's all you're doing. Get it in between. All right, let me just fix that wire in there. This is a thicker wire, so it's going to be a little harder on that one. That one I have to take out more. All right, it's in there. Can't see no wire. So from this point, all I got to do is push in the wire between the A pillar and the frame, and it'll stay inside there. I'm going to do that all the way down. Then I'm going to put the weather strip right back on there. But I'm going to try to finish it all the way to the bottom. All right, going to finish putting that wire in there. I'm just going to push it in between. And this is the kick plate. From the dashboard to the bottom is a kick plate. This right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the wire, the door's closing on me, and I'm going to just simply push it underneath there. There you go. See, I just pinched it in. So the wire is inside the vehicle from the A pillar. So all I got to do again, like we talked about, is just put the weather strip back. I'm putting the weather strip back inside here. This side's getting done. What I want to do is wait for the corner. I'll put the corner in last. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is put the bottom part on. So what I'm going to do is put the bottom part of the dashboard on, and that way all I got left is this corner piece. So when you come outside the frame, you're simply just pushing it in the correct way to make sure it goes in there correctly. All right, so the first thing we see is actually the Hardwire kit. What I like about this is it has the two connections, one for the accessories and one for the battery. So the battery part gives constant power to the fuse, whereas the accessory one gives power to the fuse only when the car turns on. When the car turns off, then it turns off. And we'll get to see which ones actually is the power and which one is the accessories, because usually the red one's the battery, but I've seen a lot of Hardwire kits where this is the accessories, so don't get fooled by the colors. And this is the actual module of the Hardwire kit that pretty much tells the car to turn off. Oh, and right here it says red is for the accessory and yellow is for the battery. And of course black is the ground. All right, and this one is 11.6 to a 12 volt. So what that means is when your battery reaches that level, it will turn off any power it has going to your dash cam. That way you're able to start your car again. So that is one of the best features of these Hardwire kits, and that's pretty much what they do. Now what these Hardwire kits are for is basically for parking mode. The battery one will keep your dash cam on at all time, whereas the accessory wire is when you turn off your vehicle, the accessory will tell your dash cam to enter parking mode. That's why it's best to have these two. A lot of people say, well, can we just use the battery? Yeah, you can, but it's not going to give you the parking mode function. So what that means is that you're going to have recording 24 hours a day. So if you get to work and you park your vehicle, somebody bumps in it first thing in the morning when you get there. By the time you get out of work, you notice that. But since your dash cam's been on for 7 to 8 hours, well, that footage is probably gone. So that's why parking mode, it will turn on your dash cam and the G sensor will be activated to record whatever second or whatever minutes it gives you. So that's what's good about these Hardwire kits. And this one is a Type C. And what I like about this Type C is that it's an L. So which means is that when you install it, it goes up, or to the side, it will go up. And some just go straight up, and if you have one to the side, well, it's sticking out like this.
where if it's at L, it'll go up like that with a 90-degree angle. So this is good. All right, let's see what else we got here. All right, and all these are these fuse taps, okay? All these, and it gives you all the different ones. So this large one is called a maxi. This is the large one here. And then these are a mini profile. So these are different. These are smaller ones. These are probably newer cars have this. All right. And then we have these. We also have these micro ones. So I'm going to use the micros. So these are the ones that I need. And you notice they come with a 5 amp fuse already in there. And that's pretty much all you need is a 5 amp fuse. So that's good, it comes with it. And you notice there's an opening. So whatever fuse you use, you take that out and you put it right in here. You put it right into that open slot. All right, now we come back to the tools that they have. And this is a pry bar. And this is what helps you use to install the cables. So if you have one of these cables right here and you install it around your headliner, your window pillars, all you do is get that and you push this down with this pry bar and it helps you. Or you lift up the pillars or the headliner and that way you could put this in there. So this is a very good handy tool to have. And once you're done, you could keep this in your toolbox. And the way you use these, so all you got to do is grab these and all you do is just going to push it in there and it snaps in. That's all you do. You do it for both of them. Let's do the other one. All right, going to grab the one we need. Going to push it in there. And then you could push this protector covering right over both of them. And this one here on your fuse box, usually there's a bolt there. And you just loosen that and you push this behind there and then you tighten it up. And this grounds your hardwire kit to give this power. All right, so here's some of these tools that we got. So let's take a look exactly what we got. All right, so we got 4 zip ties. So these are good to put your wires together, keep them confined, and then you could just snip out whatever you don't need, the slack of it, and this keeps everything organized. So these are good. Then you have these little cord management. And a lot of times what people use is on the headliner, on the window shield, they'll put these on the window shield and they'll have the wires going through these. I don't use these. I usually just throw these away. All my installations, you see no wires because all the wires go inside the pillar or the headliner. So these we really don't need. Thank you anyway, but no. Here you go. Now this is the main thing here. This is your circuit tester. All right, and this part here just goes right inside there. And what you do to this is that we just talked about the bolt that holds the fuse box, where you're going to ground this cable here, this black cable where you're going to ground this one. This is the same place you put this here. And then what you do is you test one side of the fuse to see if it lights up or not. Now, for example, we have this fuse, and all you got to do is really test one side. You could test both sides, but it's going to give you the same reading. But just a little note, if you test this side has power and this side doesn't, it usually means you have a bad fuse, but you really just need to test one side. And when you're testing that, this should light up if there's power in there. When you're looking for a constant fuse, you just touch one side and it should light up. Now for a switch fuse, when you test these, if it doesn't light up, well that's good because all you got to do now is start your vehicle, put your circuit tester on there, and if it lights up, then that's the one you need. So this is one of the best things I like about this. And for the price of this hardwire kit, this is pretty outstanding. What did you think? Was this video helpful for you? If it was, give me that thumbs up. You know, I appreciate that from you. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and select all notifications for all upcoming videos. If you are interested in any of these products, I'll list links in the description down below. If you have any questions or comments about this dash cam or other products I have, leave them in the comment section down below and I'll get back to you. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe!